Hey Jack, what's going on, man? You're right when the stream starts. I appreciate that. Doing pretty good, man. Super busy. Had to start stream a little early today because I'm gonna be away from the house basically right when stream ends. I'll be busy all day, and then tomorrow I've got plans as well. So it's gonna be a busy few days. We also are supposed to get some snow on Saturday, so I'm probably gonna be busy on Saturday too. And then we'll see how it goes. What's going on, Fortunate? Let me pop my screen on here for you. Yeah, it's gonna be busy. Excuse me. Love your streams, content, and TA in general. I appreciate it, man. Try to do my best. Try to keep it interesting while providing good content. Yeah, we're supposed to get some snow on Saturday, but it's looking like it's going to turn into rain, so probably won't be making any money on that one. But yeah, getting into Bitcoin here, just looking at the volume, looking at the VWAP coming in, you can see that we're basically in a pretty damn clean distribution range. We have kind of our highs up here, our lows down here. You can see you kind of have a deviation here and here, gave you two little sell signals. Nice little bottom there. All these little signals here were nice little buy signals. So you could have bought the lows on this VWAP test or the distribution low test. They lined up pretty much perfectly. You have that VWAP close right on the low of the distribution, which basically is telling you that the volume coincides perfectly with this distribution. It looks like the bulls are trying to take over here. They're probably going to try to push up towards like 87.76, maybe even like 88.40. Looks like they are trying to gain some momentum on the Momo as well. They're trying to get above the moving average ribbon right here. You can see that the moving average ribbon is really tightening, and when you have that cluster coming in, it's kind of like the same as a Bollinger Band squeeze, where you have that volatility being constricted, very low volatility, and then you typically explode in one direction or the other. Typically, you want to take the trade in the direction that the cluster of the cluster of moving averages will be support or resistance. I'm actually going to do a video on this pretty shortly. We're going to talk about moving average clusters and kind of some advanced ways to use moving averages. I'm going to do a nice little write-up and post it in Discord and whatnot. That'll probably be within the next couple of weeks. But yeah, it looks like we're trying to push up here. You can see on exo charts, you got some some momentum coming in. The previous day value area low at 87.21 is going to be kind of that line in the sand. You can see it's the high of the accumulation if you're looking at a tick chart. So you can see that we kind of have like an inverse head and shoulders accumulation here, where you have that left shoulder and then that low and then that right shoulder. Kind of looks exactly like a Quasimodo. Quasimodos are very strong on tick charts. So when you're looking at like an auction process or just looking at volume analysis, when you see these Quasimodos, where you have that low, you fail the low and then you regain the low, that's typically a very good sign that you're going to continue to rise. So you could have bought this little low here if you're a scalper, and you had a nice little gain there. You do have some resistance coming in towards the high of the accumulation, but if we do break this accumulation high, you probably will see at least a sweep of the previous day value area low, so probably about $20, $30 more. We could see that. Let's take a look back at our other charts here. So looking at just our indicators here, looking for support and resistance, we do have a lot of resistance coming in around this 8,800 level. We still have that target around 9,000 if you're still holding along. If you were able to buy that SR flip of the range high or the SR flip of the first resistance, you're still targeting that distribution low around 9,000, so you still have a nice little gain coming in. Looking at the 1 hour here, same thing that you saw on the moving averages. You see a nice little constriction. You have that nice little distribution. It's kind of like a descending triangle, but you are constricting between like that 72 moving average and that trail there on the OTS. So you do have some low volatility, but look at the momentum here. The momentum is gaining towards the upside. So if you had to make a guess on which way this is going to break out, it's likely that it's going to break out to the upside, but you do have that trail acting as resistance. So it's kind of it's a hard call for sure. Looking at the Renko here, you do have a nice little bull div that called this local bottom. Nice little bull div coming in right here. You can see the momentum popped up, and you see price rising from that little bull div. Nothing too crazy here. You got some nice little supports toward the bottom, pushing price up, but nothing too indicative of any moves. Looking at my nighttime, I made a little template for when I'm like looking at charts during the night, so I'm not blinding myself with the white charts. And I just threw on a bunch of moving averages because I'm getting back into moving averages so I can make my write-up and make a video on them. So I'm just throwing them on my chart for now so we can get reacquainted and whatnot. The moving averages that I'm currently using are, if you guys have been following the stream for a while, they're most of my favorite moving averages. Moving average 1272, and then I'm using exponential moving average 32,200, and then I'm currently testing out a little bit of an experiment. I'm testing out a volume weighted moving average of a 144, and I posted a write-up on it or not a write-up, but I posted some examples in Discord. If you guys go to the trading strategies section, I posted kind of what I'm experimenting with that moving average. I'll talk about it more on stream probably later when I'm a little further into it. Do you think we'll break 9,091 within 24 or 48 hours? It's hard to say. There's really not any momentum right now. There's basically no volume. You can see the volume is like literally non-existent. But if the volume comes in here, we could easily test the top of the distribution around 89. But until you see significant buy volume, that distribution high is not going to fail. Because you've seen this distribution high being tested twice, and it failed both times. So until you see some significant volume, which it looks like you're getting ready to get some volume here, it's probably going to test the distribution high, which is about a 1.5% trade if you're a scalper. But it's hard to say without seeing that volume. Looking at the daily chart, let's take a look. The daily looks pretty ugly. You have that impulse up, kind of a micro pullback candle. You tested the bottom of the micro pullback, which is indicative of a distribution, and now we're kind of bouncing off of it. So you are slightly bullish, but this is an evening star. If you guys trade candlestick patterns, this is an evening star formation, which is typically bearish. But after a strong impulse like this, Bitcoin is very likely to continue upward like you saw kind of down here. It likes to distribute for a little bit and then continue higher. But until this micro pullback high is broken around 8,900, there's no point in trying to predict a move up. That 8,900 micro pullback is going to be that kind of line in the sand. Now looking at the weekly, it is doing exactly what we planned that it was going to do. It's popping up, testing the trail, and it's failing on the trail. So we don't have that sell signal on the trail just yet, but it is currently testing it. It's also currently testing that that weekly pivot from way back here. So a ton of resistance around 8,800, 8,750. If we get that sell signal on the weekly, it could be playing out exactly as we predicted, like we see here, where it's popping up and testing that trail and then nuking downward. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but so far it's playing right into it. So keep an eye on that. Now looking back at my little nighttime template here, you can see that we're in a pretty this is on a 4 hour, so we're in a pretty strong parallel channel bullishly. But on the short term, if you're looking at like a 2 hour to a 1 hour, we're in a bearish parallel channel. So we have like a downward channel inside of a long-term bullish channel. So indicative once again as distribution. So we have a long-term kind of uptrend, and we're distributing here in the local downtrend. Now, looking at just moving averages, this rolling over with the 12 moving average is typically very bearish. But there's just really not a whole lot of volume or momentum to really call it an extremely bearish move just yet. One thing to look at here, if you're trading kind of these trends, you can see the midline here and the midline here. They're pretty much crossing right where we're about to be in the next couple of candles. So if this wants to push downward, this would be kind of a great place to nuke it, because you would be breaking the downward channel midline, and you'd be breaking the upward channel midline. So you'd be kind of becoming pretty much very bearish in both your local and your long-term trends. The 8 hour had a massive bear div here on the Momo. We also have a bear div on the 12 hour. We also have a bear div on the 4 hour, I believe. Yeah, we also had... no, actually, I don't think we had a bear div on the 4 hour. Let's take a look. 3 hour, no. 2 hour, yeah, we had one on the 2 hour. So massive bear div on the 2 hour as well. Take a look. I think we had one. Yeah, we had one on the 1 hour as well. We had one on the 30-minute as well. If you guys trade the Momo, you really need to be paying attention to these bear divs. Or bull divs. The divs are very good at predicting tops and bottoms. Make sure you guys are paying attention to those. You could make a lot of money just trading bull divs and bear divs on the Momo. And that's only one of the things that it tells you. Thoughts on Litecoin? I kind of feel like it will lead the way for Bitcoin to try reaching. I just don't see the bullish, like, long-term thesis for Litecoin. I feel like Litecoin is only moving because Bitcoin is moving, you know what I mean? I just don't see the long-term thesis for Litecoin. I don't see the argument. Even the founder of Litecoin sold all of his Litecoin. So Litecoins is not a coin that I really put a lot of attention into. It's not a coin that I put a lot of money into. I don't put any money into it, actually. But I don't know. I just feel like long term it's going to be one of those coins that just dies. But for now, it's definitely reacting to what Bitcoin is doing pretty much perfectly. The weekly, really beautiful here. Talking about bull divs and bear divs on the Momo, you can see a perfect bull div on the weekly here, just like we saw on Ethereum. And you're seeing that pump up there on Litecoin, but you're currently testing the weekly trail on, what is this, what is today? Today is Thursday, so we have 3 days left to get that sell signal confirmed. So we are testing the weekly trail, but we have 3 days left until the weekly closes. So if the weekly closes like this, it's going to confirm that sell signal, and then most likely we'll see a small pullback or a consolidation on Litecoin. Let's see, on the daily, it's also failing the 200-day moving average, also failing the the pivot here. So a lot of resistance. You can see nice little buy pressure coming in on the short term, indicative of a distribution. But buying here is pretty risky. Buying a break of the distribution high is a better trade. But buying down here, you could be scalping like the lows of the distribution. Nice uptrend. It's following the trail basically all the way up. The trail's been green. You're above your 72, above the 200. You're white on the OTS. So your uptrend is definitely pretty healthy, but a little risky. What's Ethereum doing? Ethereum, really sad that I missed that trade. Basically, we called that out beautifully. And I got a little greedy. Could have made like 17% on that trade. Got a little greedy on that one. I was waiting for one more pullback and we just didn't get it. Got too greedy. I think Ethereum still has a really strong case as long as you stay above these two levels long term. You stay above 156 and like 140. You're looking really good for a long-term gain. I think Ethereum looks fantastic for 2020. Maybe like mid 2020, late 2020. Probably see a pretty nice bull run on Ethereum. That's if Bitcoin behaves. If Bitcoin doesn't behave and Bitcoin starts to follow our fractal as we've been saying and starts to fail downward, Ethereum's going to follow. Hey, Cash, what's going on, man? Jack, he asked what are my top 3 cryptocurrencies and why. I don't really hold any cryptocurrencies long term besides Bitcoin. The only crypto that I hold as like an asset is Bitcoin. Everything else that I trade, I just use it to trade. I'm not like a long term investor in crypto. I'm not making like a savings account or anything like that in crypto. I just use crypto as a trading tool. And the only one that I currently hold, like I said, long term is Bitcoin. Ethereum, I think, is also very strong. Besides Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're all very risky plays. I like Mana a lot because Mana actually has a use case, and it seems like its marketplace is being used for its use case. And I'm kind of biased because I've made a lot of money on Mana. I've never really lost a big trade on Mana. I've always had very strong trades on Mana. It actually looks like it's pumping still. I just sold my Mana for about a 25% gain at 36. It's currently about at 37. So still pumping up here. I could have bought back here actually. Nice little gain there. But yeah, I like Mana long term. It seems like it has a use case. It's being used for its use case. The marketplace seems very healthy, especially with virtual reality kind of taking off recently. Well, not really taking off, but the innovations that are coming in from virtual reality are getting stronger and stronger. I look at virtual reality as like the weed stock of the tech industry. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a fad right now. It's not like too mainstream. It's not too crazy. But if it does continue along its path and it keeps picking up, I think it could be very, very big in the future. It could be like another internet bubble. So if you're comparing like VR to weed, I think they're very similar because they're extremely it's hard to call weed innovative, but the things that are being done with like weed and even like hemp and whatnot, they're pretty innovative, right? And they're disruptive. So not only are they innovative, they're disruptive. The things that they're doing in the industry is disruptive. So if they continue to do that and they go about it the right way, it can really push the market into their favor. And I think that's the same exact thing for virtual reality. I think it's very disruptive. I think it's very innovative. And if they keep going along the same path and they go about it the right way and they actually make some good advancements in a pretty significant or a pretty good time frame, you don't want it to take 10, 20, 30 years, right, to go mainstream. I think VR needs to take off in probably the next 5 to 7 years, or it's just going to become like a major meme. Because people have been putting a lot of money and time into like these VR technologies lately, and there's just nothing really happening so far. There's nothing too crazy. There's nothing too like breakout. But I think within the next like 5 to 7 years, if they have something that's like major breakout, maybe a new game or maybe, I don't even know, maybe a new business or something that is solely relying on VR, I think it could disrupt the industry. So yeah, I think Mana has a strong case. Maybe some other virtual reality cryptocurrencies, they might have strong cases as well. But yeah, long story short, I think of it as like the weed stock of crypto. That's another thing though. If you guys are into equities, looking into weed stocks is definitely key right now. Weed stocks are having a hell of a fucking move. The like CGC, APHA are two of the main ones I'm watching. They are moving, man. They're not obviously all moving in the positive direction, but some of these companies are really getting ready to blow up. I'm keeping an eye on APHA. I'm already invested in it. I need to buy some more shares. I sold my my shares recently for about a 10% gain, but I'm looking to buy some more shares pretty soon. But you can see this Quasimodo here on APHA daily. This is really strong bullish momentum that we're seeing. So if we see a pullback towards like the mid 4s or even the low 5s, could look really good for some long-term buys. Hey, you said, are you still bullish on Bitcoin? Yeah, still long-term bullish. If and only if my fractal theory is wrong. So if my fractal theory keeps playing out correctly, which it currently is, Bitcoin doesn't look too bullish long-term. Definitely very bullish short-term. But this is hitting my target exactly. We've been talking about this 84, 86, 9,000 range for about a month and a half now, 2 months. And we hit it pretty much spot on. Sadly, I sold very early. I sold around 79. I still made a very good gain, but I sold very early. I should have kept my I should have kept my trade going with my thesis. But yeah, this is exactly what we planned to happen. But sadly, if you guys have been following the stream, this is not bullish. Us planning for this to hit 86 to like 88, 9,000, that is not bullish. This is actually bearish. So if this continues to play out and this fails downward here, this is bad news. Very, very bad news. Because this fractal is not a bullish fractal. This is an extremely bearish fractal. The fractal that we're watching is this one here. This kind of accumulation that ends up breaking to the downside. You have an accumulation after a parabolic move up, where you have lower highs being put in. It's the same exact fractal that we're watching. You see that parabolic move up, and then you see the lower highs being put in. So if this fails here and pushes below kind of this level here, this like 8,000, and it continues that fractal where your lower high, lose the support, very bad news. So I'm still net short on Bitcoin. I'm still net short. I'm underwater a little bit, so my short, I shorted a little early. I shorted this right here. I thought this was going to fail the high. It ended up breaking out. I took a long on the breakout to cover my losses, but I'm still in a small loss. So we have a small loss on Bitcoin here, but nothing too crazy. It's like a 2%, I think, 2% loss. Nothing nuts. Bitcoin 9K before 83. I'm not making any predictions right now, honestly. It's distributing. The way that I trade distribution, is there's no point in taking a directional trade until the high or the low has been taken. So until the high or the low of the distribution's been taken, there's no directional trade here. It's a ranging trade. You can scalp this all day long, which I'm not doing because I'm just far too busy to sit here and stare at a chart and scalp all day. But the range is not giving you a directional bias. So creating a directional bias here is a misplay. Like I said, it looks like it wants to break out to the upside. This little constriction right here, you see that gain in momentum? You're holding the 72 moving average. You're turning gray on the OTS. It looks like it wants to break out to the upside. Problem is, look at the volume. When there's this low volume, making predictions really doesn't, it's not going to help you. Because wherever the volume comes in, that's where they're going to push it. So you really just have to wait for the volume. It looks like it's constricting, or it's tightening like right before that previous day value area low. So it looks like it wants to pop up here. Which you're currently seeing. Do you use leverage when you're scalping? Of course, yeah. If you're scalping, you definitely want to be using leverage. You can't really make too much profit if you're just using like 1x. You could, but the profit's going to be really low. If you're using like 1x, you could make very little money depending on how wide the range is. If it's a pretty good range, let's say like 3%, you could probably do 1x. If it's, and that's very rare. You're not going to get a 3% range very often. Like this range is, let's see. So this is actually one of those rare ranges. This is about 3.6%. So you could probably do 1x leverage here to scalp, but this isn't a scalping range here. It's too big. This is on an hourly chart, so you can see it's taking quite some time. This would be more of like an intraday scalping, you know what I mean? Not like a low time frame scalping. It'd be more like an intraday trading. If that makes sense. Because these moves are taking quite some time. So like you see this move here is like 9 hours. This move here is 10 hours. Another 5 hours. Another 10 hours. So that's not a scalping time frame. You're looking more of like an intraday. And using like 1x leverage on intraday trading, that's not bad. But if you're doing like very low time frame scalping, you're probably going to want to use at least like 2, 3x to 5x. It depends on what the market's telling you though. You guys know how it is, man. Basically all your questions, my answer is it depends. Because there's just so many variables and so many different scenarios in trading that you have to become acclimated to. And be accustomed to. You can't make like a technique or a rule set that's going to work in every single market. If you could do that, you'd be a millionaire. The only thing that should remain relatively the same no matter what you're doing is your risk management. Now, obviously, your techniques can change a little bit, but your overall risk management, like how much of your capital you're risking, and what like your R to R is compared to your win rate, so looking at like your profit factor and whatnot, your risk management should be relatively the same no matter what you're doing to get the most out of your trading based on those stats, based on your R to R, based on your win rate. Like I show you guys, I've got dozens of ways to enter trades, but the way that I exit trades is far less. The way that I exit trades is only a couple methods, you know what I mean? The way that I enter trades could be all these different techniques that I've been teaching. But the way that I exit trades based on my risk management is typically the same. If that makes sense. I'm trying not to confuse you guys, but I probably did just confuse you. If we break above and hold 95, will you change long-term bullish? Yeah, so if we break above this high right here, the fractal is destroyed. So anything below this high, anything that creates a lower high, the fractal is still in play. If this high is lost, then the fractal is destroyed. So if anything beats this high, if anything beats this pivot, then I'm definitely long-term bullish. Basically that high right there, which is pretty much what we'd be seeing is you have kind of this SR flip right here, right? You have that kind of range, like right here. So that SR flip with this kind of downward channel, if we break out and regain that SR flip as a support, you should definitely be bullish. There's no reason you should be bearish if we regain this massive level right here. Like, look at how far back this level goes. If we regain that level around 10,000, there's no reason you should be bearish unless it's like a swing failure. This is going to break out in the next hour or two, probably. If I had to pick a side here, I think it's more bullish than bearish. But the volume is really hard to trade. Do you like volatility indicator? Yeah, I've traded volatility indicators. Oh, this is funny, going off topic for a second. If you guys remember my stream from like fucking over a year ago, this is kind of the template we used to use. Look at these levels. I think it's on this one. Look at these levels that we drew back when we were trading in 2018. Almost all of these levels were tested like perfectly. I know it's a lot of levels, but almost all of these levels were tested pretty much perfectly. And it shows you how strong support and resistance levels are. Like, these are all from 2018 when we were trading. I've not touched this chart. If you guys remember this, I used to do the order block trading. We had the levels from the highs and the lows. It's pretty crazy to see how price is reacting to these levels that are over a year old. We're currently testing one almost to the dollar. This is really funny. This is why I don't delete old charts. If I'm changing like layouts, I don't delete my old charts because I always like going back and seeing stuff like this. Like, this is beautiful down here. So looking at this like year-old chart, you can see we have a ton of resistance up here. Which if we break, this scale is tiny. If we break above like 91, we'll probably see some momentum. Oh, sorry, going back to what were we saying? We were saying volatility indicator. Yeah, so we have a volatility indicator that I don't show it much on stream because it's meant to be used by itself. It's not meant to be used with our other indicators. So I don't show it a lot on stream because I have to turn off all my other indicators. But we have a volatility indicator that looks for low volatility and looks for breakouts. You can see these green bars here. Those are buy signals. On the breakout, you have orange is warning you for bearish. Red is your kind of breakdown. So you see breakdowns here. Buys, breakdowns. Yeah, I love trading stuff like this. I just don't do it. It's not in my arsenal right now. I'm not trading it currently. I'm using other methods. See, we're currently seeing very low volatility, so it's warning you. And it looks like it's going to start warning you for a breakout to the upside if it continues upward here. Yeah, it's already warning you on like the 15-minute. Trying to warn you of a breakout to the upside. 5 minutes trying to warn you as well. I think volatility indicators are very strong. They need to be used correctly, though. People, you need to understand how to trade volatility. One of the best volatility indicators that's very underused is ATR. Very, very simple math formula on finding the true range of candles. Very underused. Yeah, volatility indicators don't imply direction, they imply volatility. They imply, like Bollinger Band squeezes imply that there's low volatility. It doesn't tell you which way it's going to go, but it tells you that the volatility is very low. It's like Bollinger Band width, basically. You have ATR that tells you the true range of the candles, which tells you if it's very low, volatility's low. If it's high, volatility's high. Those are the only ones that I really use. Nothing really else that I use for volatility. There's probably a bunch in here, though. Yeah, I used to use Ichimoku for a very long time, Jack. It's currently not in my arsenal either. You guys will see if you continue to follow the stream. You'll see that I change my techniques up a lot depending on what I see in the market and kind of what strategies I feel would be very good. Ichimoku is still a very good strategy. I just don't use it currently. But if you watch my Ichimoku video, I go over how to use Ichimoku, and I give you my strategy that I use for Ichimoku. And I give you everything. I give you the entries, the exits, the take profits. It's a 100% complete strategy. And it worked out perfectly in Bitcoin's breakout here. I'll show you. So sadly, this would have been the strategy to use for this recent price action that we were seeing, because it works very well in trending markets. It does not work very well in ranging markets. So when you see like this accumulation or distribution, it's not that good of a strategy to use. But when you start seeing a trend form, it is a very strong strategy to use. So looking at my Ichimoku strategy, I use 3 time frames. I use a 15-minute, a 3-hour, and a 12-hour. The 3-hour is the main time frame. The 3-hour is basically to determine your trend. So the 3-hour, basically, it's a very, very simple strategy. You look for a TK cross when Bitcoin is above the cloud. The cloud is green ahead, and a couple of other factors. But basically, just looking at how bullish or bearish it is on the Ichimoku, using its entire system, except for the lagging span. I don't use the lagging span. But yeah, so you have the TK cross here. You would have taken your long anywhere around this distribution. You would have taken profit somewhere around this little failure. You would have longed again around this breakout here. And you would have taken profit, not yet. You could have taken profit here, but that was a little bit of a fake out. You'd probably still be holding. The 12-hour, I called this out in Discord perfectly. So if you guys were in Discord, I said that using my Ichimoku strategy, these candles right here were almost in 100% bullish format. The only reason they were not 100% bullish was because the Tenkin line was below the baseline. If the Tenkin line was above the baseline, it would have been 100% bullish. And then you saw that massive breakout. You'd still be holding this too. So you would have bought around here, and you'd still be holding. So massive gain, like 18-20%. But yeah, I have an entire video going over Ichimoku and my strategy. It's on the YouTube. Feel free to check it out. I have another scalping kind of like intraday strategy that I've been testing on TrendSpider. I've showed you guys a lot. I can actually pull that up here. Very, very strong strategy. Let me log in. God damn it. This is the current strategy that I've still been backtesting. It's a 50-minute TK cross above the 100 EMA. Very strong when Bitcoin's trending upward. Yeah, you can see here it's up 22% while Bitcoin's down 6%. Very, very strong. Oh, it's actually in a long here. Look at that. It's in a long and it's projecting kind of how Bitcoin will play out. One of my favorite things about their strategy tester, this little prediction thing. Really cool. So if this continues with kind of the average of what all the other the signals that it gave, that's the route that it would take. It looks like it wants to break out towards like 8,800. How do you decide whether to let trades run past your target? It's hard to say, but it's basically, it depends on like short-term momentum. So like looking at like the Momo, looking at like bear divs or bull divs or whatnot. Typically, if I'm ever in a scenario where it hits my target, I'm like, okay, I kind of want to hold on to it. That's only if like the Momo and the other indicators are not telling me to get out. So if it hits my target and the Momo has like, let's say I'm in a long and the Momo has like a bear div and then the OTS is turning black and then the auto SR is giving me a resistance, maybe there's pivot, like anything like that, I'm going to start taking profit. But if it's breaking out really heavily and none of the indicators are giving me signals to sell, I'll probably hold on to it. That's very rare though. Typically where my sell signals are based on the indicators. So I'll just kind of wait for them to tell me to get out of the trade. What sadly happened, you can see the downside to that. It doesn't work every time, obviously, because that's kind of what I did on this trade here. So when I was in this long trade and I was looking to get, my target was around 86, 84. I was watching the low time frames. So this is one of the major mistakes that I made. We talked about this a couple of streams ago. I based this trade on a daily and a weekly, but I took profit based on a very low time frame, like a 1 hour, 4 hour. So what I was seeing on the 1 hour and the 4 hour was you could see this pivot coming in. You could see a lot of resistance on the like kind of short time frame candles. You could see you were kind of failing the pivot. I predicted this failure pretty much perfectly on the 1 hour. But sadly, this wasn't really a failure on the daily or the higher time frames. You can see how we pulled back pretty much perfectly when I thought we would, but then we just bounced right back because the daily was so strong. So when I based my exit on a lower time frame, yes, the exit was right, but it was only right on that lower time frame. So when you're using methods to exit your trades, even if it's past your target or before your target, you should always be basing it on a similar time frame to where you entered. If you entered based on a daily, you don't want to exit your trade based on like a 5-minute or a 15-minute. So that's where I messed up. I still make mistakes. If I didn't make mistakes, I'd be making a lot more money. But that's how trading is. You gotta learn from your mistakes. Yeah, swing failure is good. I like swing failures. You have to be careful though, because Bitcoin likes to swing failure multiple times. It likes to kind of trap you and then swing. It's kind of like what we see here. You see kind of like multiple swing failures. But yeah, I think it's a good strategy. As long as you're using proper risk management, stop losses. Didn't mean to close that. So we're back above those anchored VWAPs that I was watching. I showed you guys the like 3 major anchored VWAPs that we were watching on Bitcoin. We have the anchored VWAP from the breakdown of 2018, we have the low of 2018, and then we have the high of 2019. And you have those 3 major VWAPs, right? So 2 of those VWAPs are around 8100 and 8400. We're already above both of those. Now that major VWAP from the high of 2019, we still have not broken around 96. So major line in the sand around 95 and 96. This is pretty ugly on the raindrops. You can see the volume coming in pretty heavily towards the downside. Almost no volume towards the upside of this raindrop. Most of these trends are bearish trends. We have like no bullish trends. Let's take a look at some other trend lines. Got some bullish trends from way back here. Oh, I don't think these are refreshed. Let me refresh these. There we go. Those are better. Sorry, my mouse wheel is broken. That's why it keeps jiggling like that. I have my new mouse. I'm just being lazy. I'm trying to use this mouse until it gets to a point where it's unusable. I hate ditching this mouse when there's like nothing wrong with it besides the mouse wheel. It's under warranty. I probably should take it back. You can see how it struggles. That's the mouse wheel doing that. It's like fighting itself. It like goes up and down when I'm trying to go one direction. Ever since I simplified my charts a few months ago, oh sorry, let me finish that. Ever since I simplified my charts a few months ago, I've been doing a lot better. That I've told people that so many times from like when I first started streaming. I know my charts look complicated, but it's because I've gotten to this point. Like I've step by step gotten to this point. The problem with most traders is they don't do it step by step. They fill their charts up with indicators and different techniques, and maybe they're doing like Fibonacci, Elliott wave, all this other stuff on their chart that they didn't take the time to learn step by step. They're just throwing it all on their chart at one time. They're trying to learn it all at the same time. You're not going to be able to trade like that. It's just a nightmare to trade like that. But if you take it step by step, like learn candlesticks, then learn moving averages, then learn RSI, learn MACD, you know what I mean? Like learn these indicators that you want to use step by step. Don't throw them all on your chart and expect to be a master trader with everything on your chart on the first few weeks. It's just not going to work out. If you simplify your charts and start clean, kind of like this. If you... Let me hide Ichimoku. So I always like to have at least one layout where I don't have a lot of stuff on my chart and I'm just drawing levels, right? This is always something that you should do. So like if your charts are messy, like kind of how mine are pretty messy. Where I have like a bunch of indicators doing different analysis. I've got like Renko and whatnot. If you have messy charts, make one of your charts just super clean, no indicators, just do like price and volume analysis, right? And that's kind of what I use this chart for. My other charts are pretty messy. I use this one to find all my levels that I like. I label them so I don't forget what they are. You should always do something like this. People want to be the jack of all trades when they start. Yeah, they try to the fallacy is they think the more kind of techniques, the more indicators they use for confluence, they think the better it is. That's true to a certain extent, but not the way that they're doing it. They're trying to just throw together as much as they possibly can because they think more is better. But yeah, I think you should always have a chart where you're just doing like price action analysis. And I guarantee if you take that advice and go make yourself a chart, do some price action analysis, don't cloud it with indicators, it will be a lot easier to see what's going on. Now, once you get to like my level where you've been trading for years and years and it's all kind of second nature to you, this is really easy to look at. Like I can look at this even zoom down and I can see exactly what's happening. I know what my indicators are doing. I know what price is doing. I don't have to like break it down and hide all my indicators to kind of see through the lines. And you'll get to that level. Don't think that that's like something you'll never achieve. That's just practice. Just getting more screen time and like watching charts, you'll get to that level. Ethereum's breaking out here. It's trying to. So if Bitcoin follows, we could see a nice move. I started at 16. I started trading stocks and whatnot at 16. I've almost got a decade on my belt. I got 8 years. Two more years. I'll have a decade of trading. I was talking about this in Discord when I made this template for my nighttime trading. Just looking at the OTS coloring on this template is so clean. I don't know what it is. I think it's the gray background. But looking at the candle coloring from the OTS is super clean on this template. I like the way it looks. Hey, Nader, what's going on? You're 18, that's good, man. That's a perfect age. I think starting to learn trading around like the end of high school or even the start of college, I think it's really good. It's going to suck, obviously, because when you get into college and you're really focused on trading and charting and whatnot, you're going to be really distracted. Hey, no worries, Nader. I'm doing good, man. Don't feel bad, man. Most of my viewers are from VOD. They watch the video instead of watching it live. We only get about 15, 20 viewers usually live, sometimes like 30. But I typically get about 100 on the VOD, about 60 to 100 on the video. I understand my times are random, and most like for Americans, my times are like during their work. For Europeans, my time's like kind of towards their dinner, towards their nighttime. So my stream times are a little weird. I've tried out a bunch of different time slots. Like we did morning, we did afternoon, we did late at night. It seems like the like 2 to 4 p.m. is like the best for my community. Also on weekends, if we do the later, so we do like the 6 p.m. on the weekends, it seems like you guys like that as well. Yeah, look at this. So Ethereum was breaking out. Now Bitcoin's following. So it seems like Ethereum is leading Bitcoin again. Ethereum's been leading Bitcoin for quite some time now. He started 6 months ago, but he learned a lot compared to the time I had. There's definitely a lot of ways that you can kind of jumpstart your learning. I took it the slow route. I read books. It's like the slowest way you could do it, but you learn well if you're really following along with the books and you find good books, obviously. I think you can learn a lot from trading books, but there's not there's not many books to talk about a lot of the things that I talk about. But yeah, there's like courses, there's videos, there's books, there's just live trading. You can live trade as well. I think the fastest ways to learn are probably videos and live trading. Books and courses are kind of slower. You got to read through all the content and follow the examples and whatnot. I think videos and live trading are definitely going to be the fastest way to get a jump start. Live trading will definitely jumpstart you if you're doing it properly. If you're taking it seriously and you're not using it as like gambling, I think you can definitely learn far more from live trading than you'll learn from anything else. Hey Andre, you said just found your channel, been in crypto for about 2 years, serious about TA for about a year. I watched some of your videos and turned some people onto your content. Great stuff, man. I appreciate that, man. It always helps when you guys tell your friends and whatnot. Word of mouth is the best way to grow channels and grow communities organically. We do like no marketing basically, even for our businesses, for like our Discord and our indicators and whatnot. The only marketing that we do is basically the live stream. Any books you recommend to read? Yeah, so my favorite books that I read when I was starting out is Getting Started in Candlestick Charting by Tina Logan. That's my favorite candlestick book. It's very simple. It's only like hold on, I got it right next to me. It is, let's see. It is not including the like appendix. It's only about 230 pages long. So very short, very sweet. Got a lot of picture examples, got a lot of written examples for just everything you need to know about candlesticks, different patterns, different techniques, yada yada. That's Getting Started in Candlestick Charting by Tina Logan. Another one of my books that I liked, if you're like brand new to trading, if you've already been trading for a little bit, it's probably a little redundant. But A Beginner's Guide to Day Trading Online by Tony Turner. That's also a good book. A little bit more advanced, kind of a different technique. Contrarian Investing by Galea and Padalon. That's really good as well. The books by Steve Neeson. Basically, all of his books are really good. They're advanced though, so don't read those first. Read those later. His name's Steve Neeson, Nison. What else? My favorite trader of all time is Bill Williams. And there's a video that I recommend every trader, even though it's really old. It's a really old video. But this video right here. I recommend every trader watch this video. It's very old, as you can see. He's using a fucking projector, or he's using a, what do they call them? One of those little, fuck, I even forgot what those things are called. It's a projector, but it's called something fancy. We used to use these back when I was in school. But yeah, watch this video. He's not going to give you like a holy grail technique or anything. Overhead projector, thank you. Overhead projector. But the way that he talks about trading in this video changed my mindset on trading. I watched this a long time ago. This was released in 2014. There was an older video on YouTube that got deleted. That was back before like 2010, I believe. But this video changed the way that I looked at trading, because just the way that he talks about trading and the way he talks about like how you should think about trading. One of the main things that I quote a lot on stream that he says, not word for word, but he says, if you're in a trade and you're like yelling at the computer, like go up, go up, go up, go down, go down, go down, and like you care which way it's going to go, you're already losing as a trader. You're already failing yourself as a trader. If you're getting emotional and you really care which way your trade's going to go, you're already failing. You need to get to a point in your trading where you just don't care. Because the reason you don't care is because you have already figured it all out. Like you know where you're stopping out. You know where your target is. You know what needs to happen to hit your target. You know what I mean? If you figured it all out, you shouldn't be emotional when your trade is playing out, because you've already thought about all the scenarios. And he talks about that in that video, and it really it changed the way that I looked at trading. Tom Williams, master of the markets. He passed away, but he is the creator of the VSA methodology based on supply and demand dynamics. Master of the markets is a game changer. Is that a book? Master of the markets? I haven't heard of that. Andre said, I agree. A ton of indicators clouds the picture. Do you have staple indicators you keep? I'm more of a swing trader. The indicators that I use every day in my trading are my proprietary indicators. And I know that probably sounds like a shill. It sounds like I'm just trying to sell you guys indicators. But that's all I do, really. I use moving averages, and I use our proprietary indicators. The Oasis Trading Suite, the Auto SR, and the Momo are the main ones that I use. I only use the Auto Squeeze breakout bars indicator if I'm trying to trade that technique, which I haven't been trading recently. Fortunate, if you're still watching the stream, I saw your message in Discord. If you go to the Trading Tips channel in Discord, I'm going to type this out as well. If you go to the Trading Tips channel in Discord, if you go to the pinned messages, there are hundreds of ebooks in there. The books that I just mentioned are in there for free. So if you guys don't mind ebooks, I'm not an ebook fan. I like having the book in my hand, and I like reading it like a real book. So I'm not an ebook fan, but if you guys don't mind ebooks, there's hundreds of ebooks in that Trading Tips channel in Discord. Oh, also the Steve Neeson books are in there as well. I don't think the Day Traders Online one's in there. It might be. But the Steve Neeson books are in there. The Tina Logan book is in there. And a shit ton of other books. Mark Douglas has videos from the 90s. That's crazy. It's a free PDF. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, the only trader that I really followed was Bill Williams, because I used to trade his techniques. I used to trade his awesome oscillator. I traded his accelerator. I traded his alligator. I created a technique off of his alligator that I taught on stream multiple times. It's actually being used right here. So this VWAP band right here is kind of my technique using his alligator technique. So his alligator technique, I'm not going to go over it because it's going to be like a whole video. But if you go down to Williams alligator, this is his alligator. So what I did was, instead of using his alligator, I used moving averages, which are, I found that 8, 16, and 24 were the moving averages that I liked. I call it the trident because it's 3 moving averages. And I actually found that it's faster than his technique. Yeah. He is fantastic, man. He's like the guy who founded the... This played out beautifully. He's like the guy who founded the fractals in trading. He like mastered it, basically. It's not the fractals that you're thinking about, like looking at price pattern, like saying this is a fractal and then looking for that fractal again. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the 5 candle fractals where you have a high and then two lower highs on each side, and then you have like a low and 2 higher lows. This forms a fractal. I have videos on this on YouTube as well. He also has an indicator called the MFI, which is fantastic. I used it for a long time, but it's like a whole system in itself. So you would have to learn the system and trade the system basically by itself. You can use other things as well, but the where is it? Right here, Market Facilitation Index. So each one of these colors has a meaning to it. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can remember this. I actually haven't done this in a long time. Oh, these are wrong colors. These are wrong colors. I think I had to change this indicator to match the real colors. Yeah, these are wrong. There's supposed to be a brown one, which is a fade bar. There's supposed to be a pink one, which is a squat bar. And then you have the green bars, which are called green bars. And then you have a blue bar, which is... Fuck, what's the blue bar? There's squat, fade, green. What's the last one? Squat, fade, green. Oh, it's gonna kill me. I don't want to look it up. I want to see if I can remember it. If Beaverman was in here, I taught this technique to Beaverman. He really likes it. I'm not sure if he's still trading it. Squat, fade, green. I'm gonna look it up. I can't remember it. Is this not on Investopedia? Fake. Squat, fade, green, and fake. That's what it was. I could not remember that. This is an entire technique by itself, though. It's actually very interesting. I didn't find that it worked out that well on Bitcoin. It worked for a little bit, but it seemed like it got a little choppy. It works pretty well in stocks, but I haven't tested it in Bitcoin anytime recently. I used to use it about 2 years ago. But yeah, very, very cool. Very cool technique if you learn it. I think all these colors are right except for... Why can't I move this? What is happening? Seems like the red are supposed to be brown. And I think the non-color is supposed to be... pink. I'm not gonna mess with it, I don't got time. We'll do that in another stream. But yeah, very cool technique if you guys want to learn more about Bill Williams. Is TrendSpider more for someone who programs, codes, bots, or is it some kind of alternate to TradingView? I just heard of him here today and I got a 7-day trial, just curious. It's more of, it's like an alternate to TradingView that offers different features. So the features that they offer aren't all the same. They're offering kind of more, some things are more simple, some things are more advanced. I think it's more for somebody who wants to save time, who's not spending numerous hours on charts. So like if you want to save times doing your technical analysis, they have automated trend lines, they've got automated heat maps, you can build your automated strategies, which will give you alerts and whatnot. So I think overall, it's for people who they want to use advanced features, but they want to save themselves a lot of time. That's kind of the way that I would describe it. I have a discount code as well, so if you wanted to ever upgrade, just let me know. I can give you a discount code. D. Nixon said, Trade Guider sells VSA software to the back end of the book. So the back end of the book explains some of that, but the content up to that is very useful. Gotcha. What do you think about Bulwalski? I don't think I've learned about Bulwalski. Do you like DMI ADX? I like DMI. I used it for a little bit. I found that the Momo is more... basically what I was using the DMI for, the Momo does, but it does it way better. So I just stopped using the DMI. Every oscillator that I try to use, I just find that the Momo does it better. So I just use the Momo. There's basically no oscillator that I use besides the Momo, because the Momo is like an all-in-one. And like I said, it's hard for me to say that because I know you guys think I'm just trying to sell it to you, but that's what I do in my trading, so just being honest. Just being honest. Let me see, did I miss any messages? No, I think I got them all. What time is it? I actually got to end stream, guys. You guys have any final remarks or anything? I gotta get going here. Gonna be pretty busy until like late tonight, around 11 or 12. Another thing, guys, if you're in the Discord, the one-on-one tutoring is posted. So if you guys are a member, it's free of charge. Don't charge you guys anything. Go to the announcement section. I posted the calendar. You guys can sign up. The times are Monday and Wednesday from 4 to 7. They're 30-minute sessions. So if you guys would like one-on-one tutoring, just make sure to sign up. And make sure when you sign up that you put what topic you want to cover. If you don't put the topic in the calendar, just send me a message on Discord with what topic you want to cover. We've had a couple people sign up already, which is awesome. I appreciate you guys. I'll be talking with you guys shortly. But yeah, Monday and Wednesday, 4 to 7 p.m. My time. So if that is a good time for you guys, just sign up to the one-on-one tutoring. If you guys would like other times, just let me know in Discord what would be a good time to have the tutoring. But that's usually when most of my free time is kind of from 4 to 7. So, hey, Sneaky, appreciate you being here, man. Cash, D. Neekson, who else is in here? Andre, everybody else lurking, Trist, Jack. Appreciate all you guys hanging out in chat, being here and watching the stream. If you're not watching it live and you're watching the video, I appreciate you guys as well. Nader, who else stopped by? Let's see. Sneaky Chi, Yo-Yo, Battle Gamer. Who else was in chat? Crypto Fortunate. Appreciate all you guys, man. Baden, I see you. The Momo indicator is this one down here. I don't tell people what it's based on. It's based on a formula that I created to measure different price action patterns and different volume analysis. So I don't go too deep into it. I've had a lot of people try to recreate the indicator, so I can't really say much. But the Momo is this one down here. But alright guys, I will not be streaming tomorrow. I don't stream on Fridays. I will be streaming Saturday. Actually, Saturday's an iffy day. I might not be streaming Saturday either. If it snows Saturday, I won't be streaming. If it doesn't snow, we'll probably be streaming earlier in the day. We'll see how it goes. I will be streaming most likely Sunday. So if I don't see you guys Saturday, I'll see you guys Sunday. Like I said, if you guys want to sign up for tutoring, if you're in the Discord, check the announcements section. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Appreciate you guys being here, and I will see you guys Saturday. Peace out, guys.